First of all, before we begin this video, I would like to thank Connor for donating to my channel. He is a fellow law player from the Law Discord, who is actually the one who bought me a Season 3 pass. So this video wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for him. So I really appreciate it. So if you guys also want to support this channel, you can find my donation link on my YouTube channel page. Okay, so enough talk, let's now get on with the video. Okay, now, since we have some stances to break down, and Zafina has 3 of them in fact, I'm now back to explain to you guys her stances. First of the stances is her Scarecrow stance. That is when you can see her standing on one leg. This is her most offensive stance, but it's also the most vulnerable. Because while in this stance, she can't duck and she also can't block. And because she can't block, the only way she can protect herself from attacks is by being at enough plus range to make the fastest moves out of Scarecrow become uninterruptible. But when she's at minus, of course her fastest moves from Scarecrow are gonna get beaten out by fast moves. So the way she can protect herself from that is 1. By using her slow high crushing lows to go under fast highs like jabs. And 2. By using the launching power crush. She's gonna use this when she stops giving a shit by just blowing through all your attacks. So her game plan is to plant the fear of getting crushed so that you stop pressing buttons. And once you respect her Scarecrow stance, now she can apply her slower moves. So the moves that in my opinion are the most annoying to deal with is first, of course, the launching power crush, Scarecrow 4, which is also launchable on block. Then she also has Scarecrow down forward 4, which is a high crushing low poke that knocks down on counter hit. And Scarecrow 1+2, which puts her at +6 on block, and she can also enter Tarantula stance, which is also one of her stances. The fastest moves that Zafina can do from Scarecrow are Scarecrow 1, which is a 10 frame jab, Scarecrow 3, which is a 13 frame mid poke that has extensions, and Scarecrow 2, which is a 14 frame mid counter hit launcher. And not to mention the power crush, Scarecrow 4 is also 14 frames fast. I haven't mentioned all of the moves, but those are some of the few moves to watch out for. But let me tell you this. Most of the moves that put her in Scarecrow stance are either 0 or minus on block, with the exception of a few that are plus. For example, Zafina's 1-2-3, which is 0 on block. Of course, the better way to deal with this move is to not let her enter Scarecrow stance by ducking and launching the third hit. But we just want to use this move as an example because it's 0 on block. So what's a move that is fast enough that also goes under highs and also beats power crushes? Well, the answer is Lost Down 3+4. This move is 12 frames fast, high crushes, and is also a low. Not to mention that it also has good tracking. But the downside is that it puts Slaw at -2 on hit. This move is really good to stuff out all the Scarecrow options. I've tried all of Zafina's options and nothing seems to work for her. I think it's really good because she doesn't have a hop kick from Scarecrow and her Mantis transition is Scarecrow down 3+4 still gets hit by this. Another bonus note is that when Zafina does anything that is not Scarecrow 1 when she's at 0 frames, then you can unleash the flip kick extension by doing down 3+4 free for a nice launch. So far, down 3+4 has been a nice option as long as Zafina is around 0 frames or worse. But now let me show you the moves when down 3+4 doesn't work. These moves put Zafina at plus frames so she can potentially launch down 3+4 with Scarecrow 2. So we now move on to her next stance, which is Mantis. This stance is the most annoying one in my opinion, because not only that she ducks too low to avoid a huge number of moves, she can also block while in Mantis stance. So imagine a stance that crushes a lot like Xiao Yu's Art of Phoenix that can block. And that would be the stance. And don't even bother to use dick jabs on this stance because it's not gonna work. So if you want to hit her out of this stance, you gotta use lows. A lot of her moves that transition into this stance leave her at minus, but most of the time that move will have extensions to prevent people from interrupting Mantis. Like for example down 2-4, which has a launching extension in down 2-4 free. And another one would be down back 4, in which it has an extension in down back 4 too. Some of these moves are punishable and have already been covered in the earlier part of this video. She only has a few moves that enter Mantis, which puts her at plus on hit, and I'm about to show them right now. but I think the most common way to enter this stance is off her down 3, which is a really good low. This puts her at +4 on hit and in Mantis. Without Mantis, down 3 is launch punishable. But then it becomes only -13 once she enters Mantis. Being at plus frames in Mantis makes her Mantis do a common follow-up, because this becomes an uninterruptible counter hit launcher. But if you ever block a Mantis 2, remember that it's -14 on block, so you can attempt a 3+4 punish. But this move has extensions to protect it from being punished. The second hit is also -14, and the third hit is -13, but she can re-enter Mantis. And the problem is that loss 3-4 hits too high to even hit Mantis, so you can only punish this with a down 3+4, but that isn't very rewarding. So I recommend to just parry the third hit instead. So if you're unfamiliar with her just like me, this stance has a lot of low pokes and most of them just look the same. And all of them have different extensions and different frame data. So if you ever want to block one, just low parry them instead, which saves you from memorizing all those frames. With the exception of Mantis down 4, which can't be parried because it's a knee. But this is too slow anyway, so you can block and launch it in time. And yes, one more move that I almost forgot to mention that she can do when she's at a disadvantage when in Mantis is her other Power Crush, Mantis 1+2. This kinda looks like Scarecrow 1+2, but it is not plus on block. But instead it's -13, so Law gets a while standing 1-2 every time he blocks this. Furthermore, I will not be going in depth about each and every move from this stance, otherwise this guide would become a how to play guide instead of a how to punish guide. She has a lot of moves from this stance and most of them have been covered already in the earlier part of this video. We now move on to her last stance, which is Tarantula. This stance is highly evasive but can never block, and being very low to the ground, this kinda reminds us of Lay's plated stances. The moves that hit Tarantula are lows and some few mids, mainly back 4 and forward 1+2, the Dragon Hammer. All of the moves from Tarantula come out slow, with the fastest move being Tarantula 3, which is a mid that comes out at 14 frames. So Zafina would need to be at a frame advantage before she can enter this stance. This is why Scarecrow 1+2 into Tarantula is a good transition, because it puts Zafina at +6 to do a Tarantula mix-up. And by the way, if you ever block a Tarantula 3, remember that its block frames depend on what stance she enters after it. If she goes into neutral stance, then it becomes launch punishable. If she then goes into Mantis, then it becomes -14. But when she just goes back into Tarantula, this is -7, but she can never block in Tarantula. So the only way that I found to always hit her no matter what stance she enters after is to use lost back 4. But moreover, she only has few moves from this stance. The main low would be Tarantula 1, which puts her at +5 on hit to make the Tarantula 3 uninterruptible. Much like the lows from Mantis stance, you always would want to parry this move instead of blocking it, because on block it is only -11, so you only get a while standing 4. For the slower moves she has from this stance, she has Tarantula down 1+2, which knocks down but it is launch punishable. This somewhat looks like the mid launcher Tarantula 2, but they both hit at different timings, so you can try and fuzzy guard both of them with practice. And by the way, the mid launcher is safe at -9, so you can only attempt a mix-up after. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, or comment down below or subscribe. Thank you very much.